High Definition brought to you by Fort Wayne Toyota Southwest in the 1469 Auto Mall.
Police investigate a deadly shooting overnight at an Elkhart supermarket that left 3 people dead, including the suspect.
Public employees plan on picketing in front of the State House in Indianapolis. We'll tell you why. And Washington Elementary is honored with a distinction reserved for only 2 schools in the entire state of Indiana. We'll tell you what that is. And good morning to you on this Thursday. I'm Eric Olson. I'm Linda Jackson. Jason Myers in for Chris this morning again and taking a look at our weather forecast, and it's definitely winter-like, isn't it? New overnight tragedy striking an Elkhart supermarket as a suspect opens fire inside. 3 people are dead this morning, including that suspected gunman.
Elkhart police officers reportedly gunned the suspect down. Police were called to the Martin's supermarket in the 3900 block of East Bristol Street late last night on reports of a shooting inside. Investigators say officers entered the store, heard a gunshot, saw the suspect. They exchanged gunfire, and the suspect, described as a white male in his 20s, was shot to death. A female employee and a female shopper were found dead inside the store. Elkhart police have handed the investigation over to the state police because they were involved in the suspect's death.
The Fort Wayne South Bend Diocese is busy today investigating after allegations surfaced that a local priest sexually abused a minor decades ago. Father James Sekuloff has already resigned and retired. Diocese officials say there is strong evidence against him. Father Sekuloff has been in the clergy for more than 50 years. He served at St. John the Baptist Catholic Church in New Haven for several years and served many other Fort Wayne parishes before heading to St. Patrick Catholic Church in Walkerton, Indiana in August of last year.
42-year-old Robert Boyko and 40-year-old Marion Clark will have their initial court hearings today. The couple facing multiple charges of child neglect after police found their 7 children shivering inside a van outside a Fort Wayne hotel last week. 2 of those children allegedly zip-tied to their seats. Investigators say the children were wearing soiled clothing, and conditions inside the van and a hotel room where the group had reportedly been living were unsanitary. The children were put under the care of Child Protective Services.
New overnight as well, Fort Wayne firefighters battled a blaze inside the OmniSource building in the 2500 block of Taylor Street. That fire broke out around 12:10 this morning. A smoke alarm was triggered and crews were sent in to investigate. When they arrived, they could see smoke filling the building. Crews had that fire under control within 40 minutes. No one hurt. The cause of the fire remains under investigation.
In Kokomo, fire destroyed 6 buses inside the city's central bus garage. Fire crews were called out to the fire late Tuesday afternoon. Cause of that fire also under investigation. The buses are used to transport the elderly and disabled around town.
At the State House in Indy, about 100 state workers are planning to protest today over possible changes to the state's pension system. A spokesperson for the American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees says the changes would basically give away $40 million to big banks at the expense of nearly 5,000 state retirees. He says they're lobbying state lawmakers to block a plan that would privatize the annuity portion of the system.
The Indiana Department of Education has released accountability grades for school corporations, and area districts all passed the test. In our area, Southwest and Northwest Allen County schools received an A, Fort Wayne and East Allen a C, and East Noble a B. Nearly 180 school corporations in Indiana received an A or B during 2013, and more than 120 were graded C or lower. To see the grades of other school districts, go to incnow.tv, our website, and click on News Links.
Washington Elementary was honored as a prestigious Title I Distinguished School. The Fort Wayne Community School is just one of 2 in the state to receive this honor. Washington was recognized for closing the achievement gap between majority and minority schools and consistently scoring high on state standardized tests. The designation comes with a $25,000 grant from the Indiana Department of Education, and that deserves applause.
Absolutely.
I think that's fantastic.
Good
I have
for
visited
them.
that school numerous times over the years. It is a good place.
You
really
can always
people.
sense the atmosphere in a good school.
High Definition brought to you by Fort Wayne Toyota Southwest in the 1469 Auto Mall.
Pain from that never goes away. It's going to be something that's going to be with me the rest of my life.
Austin Hatch breaks his silence for the first time since surviving a second deadly plane crash.
Storm recovery efforts continue across the Hoosier State this morning. What one town is doing to speed that process up.
And remembering JFK, a Fort Wayne resident talks about his brush with history on the eve of Kennedy's assassination.
And good morning to you on this Thursday morning. I'm Eric Olson.
I'm Linda Jackson. Chris Daniels is with us on a big day in The weather and news, we may see some rain. We've already had a little rainfall overnight, right?
A little bit.
I believe every word.
Well, topping our news this morning, breaking his silence nearly 2.5 years after he survived a second deadly plane crash that killed his father. Austin Hatch has spoken publicly for the first time.
And everyone seems to want to hear what he has to say. Hatch talked with news media in Los Angeles for nearly half an hour, focusing on his past and looking forward to his future. 21 Alive sports director Tommy Shegler has our top story.
It's been a long and unimaginable road that led Austin Hatch to the podium he stood at Wednesday afternoon in Loyola High School.
I'm willing to put in the necessary work to overcome my hardships.
What an incredibly strong young man. Austin did move to Los Angeles over the summer to live with his uncle. He had very kind words to say about his hometown of Fort Wayne, but from a recovery standpoint, he says LA is a better fit.
In other news this morning, storm cleanup continues in Marion this morning. Hundreds are still in the dark following that EF2 tornado and straight line winds that blew through the town Sunday afternoon. Those winds also caused a mobile home to flip over onto another mobile home while the families were inside. Luckily, no one was hurt. The owner of the mobile home community says now it's just a matter of cleanup.
Dealing with the insurance companies and just the cleanup, with winter coming along, trying to get the houses back up and ready again before winter gets here. So, we're trying to move along as fast as we can.
The American Red Cross has opened a shelter at Sunnycrest Baptist Church. Officials with Indiana Michigan Power say electricity will be restored sometime this afternoon. In
Kokomo, city officials are waiving permit fees to help speed up the cleanup process there, and that means residents in damaged neighborhoods will not have to pay for permits for dumpsters, demolitions, or building. Nearly 50 people are still living in a shelter where more than 400 meals have been served since Sunday. City leaders are helping with the storm relief efforts and are selling T-shirts with the saying Kokomo Strong on the front. Proceeds from the sales will go to helping storm victims get back on their feet.
Police have released the identity of the man struck and killed while attempting to cross a busy street on Fort Wayne's north side Tuesday night. 59-year-old David Niblick was pinned under an SUV in the 5400 block of Stellhorn Road. Witnesses tell police he was crossing the street when he was hit. He was taken to a local hospital in critical condition where he died. Niblick is the county's 30th traffic fatality this year.
A woman is hospitalized after she drove her car into the front of the post office in Churubusco yesterday. You can see the damaged portion of the front wall gone. Witnesses say the woman was speeding moments before she crashed. No word on her name or her condition.
The Ohio woman accused of fatally shooting her mother and wounding her father will be in a Van Wert courtroom today. Tamara Menke will have her initial court hearing. Police say she killed her mother, Barb Robinson, and wounded her father, John, last Thursday. Menke's husband says Tamara blamed her parents for her brother's suicide. Hours after the double shooting, she was found hiding in her Middlebury barn.
A December 17th trial date has now been set for Stephen Walker. He's charged with attempted murder and 7 other felonies after police say he tried to kill his wife and his stepdaughter at the DuPont Estates mobile home park last month. Investigators say he was upset with his wife for talking to an ex-boyfriend. They say he shot her in the neck, seriously injuring her, and shot his stepdaughter in the arm. Walker was taken into custody several days later.
Officials with the New Haven Police Department will be at tonight's City Council meeting to lobby for the money they say they need to upgrade their 911 call center. New Haven Dispatch needs a little more than $100,000 for new equipment to stay in sync with the Fort Wayne-Allen County Dispatch Center. New Haven police officials say they need these upgrades by mid-January. Tomorrow, the nation will recall a painful memory from our past, the 50-year mark since the assassination of President John F. Kennedy. Fort Wayne resident Don Kerrigan grew up in Fort Worth, Texas. And on November 22, 1963, he joined classmates in watching the Kennedy motorcade go past his hometown. About an hour later, the president was shot and killed in nearby Dallas. Kerrigan wrote a letter years later summarizing his thoughts from that day, including when he heard the unthinkable.
We had only been in class a few minutes when the announcement came that the president was dead. There was a collective gasp of silence. Suddenly, we were all grieving at the same time for the same thing.
Kerrigan says before the shooting, he and his friends from the Deep South made insensitive remarks about the president, poking fun at a leader who favored the advancement of civil rights for blacks. He says he carried feelings of guilt for years after that, but he says he always regarded Kennedy as a great American hero.
Former Indiana Senator Richard Lugar was among 16 people who received the Presidential Medal of Freedom yesterday. Lugar was a foreign affairs expert over his 3-decade Senate career. He was also a leader in nuclear weapons reduction, and he was an early mentor to then-Senator Barack Obama on foreign affairs issues. Lugar is the second Hoosier among more than 500 people to receive the Medal of Freedom. Other recipients included media mogul Oprah Winfrey, country star Loretta Lynn, and former President Bill Clinton. The medal is in its 50th year and it was spearheaded by President John F. Kennedy.
Mr. Lugar has such a legacy.
He really does. I mean,
country.
the reduction of nuclear arms and the threat of nuclear war in this world, you know, was for decades the most important issue in many people's minds, and still is. And he really made a contribution.